Net wins is still counting Shai SGA's trajectory. The trajectory is alarming. For more like this, consider subscribing to netwins.substack.com. There's a version of SGA that the league did not see coming, not because he lacked talent. Everyone who watched him at Kentucky in 2017 knew what was there, but because of the path from 11th pick from from 11th pick to back-to-back MVP from a team that won 22 games to a championship franchise required something that cannot be scattered or projected. It required a particular kind of patience combined with a particular kind of competitive intensity that only shows itself under pressure. The formula is a composite rank of 33rd all-time after 8 seasons. It's about to move significantly higher. His career average of 3.34 understates what SGA has become because it includes the 2 seasons on 22 and 24 win Oklahoma City teams where the formula recorded minus 2.7 and minus 3.33. Those numbers are not bad seasons. They're a player of growing excellence on teams that were deliberately losing. The formula normalizes against team context, and on those rosters, the context dragged everything down. Strip those 2 seasons out, and his 6-season average from 2018 onward on teams that were competitive is 5.24. That number looks very different in the composite rankings. The more important number is the trajectory from minus 3.33 in 2021-22 season to 10.19 in the 24-25 season is a climb of 13.52 net wins over 4 seasons. In the database, that rate of improvement over that span is among the most dramatic ever recorded. He was born in Toronto and raised in Hamilton, Ontario. His mother, Charmaine, is a former Olympic track athlete, which explains the footwork and the first step that guards have spent years trying to solve and have not. He moved to Chattanooga, Tennessee for high school, 1 season at Kentucky, and then the 2018 draft, where the Charlotte Hornets took him 11th and immediately traded him to the Clippers. The Clippers season was quite a revelation of people paying attention. He averaged 10.8 points per game as a rookie on a 48-win team, shot 47.6% from the field, and produced 1.62 net wins in a supporting role. Then the Thunder traded for him in July of 2019, and the rebuilding process began. What followed for 2 seasons was the NBA's version of the minor leagues. OKC was not trying to win. Sam Presti was accumulating draft picks and assets. SGA was accumulating basketball. He was posting scoring totals that would have made him an all-star on most teams on franchises that were going 22-50 and 24-58, and the formula dutifully recorded negative net wins because the team context made it impossible to do otherwise. The question of those seasons' answer was not whether he was good, it was whether he was the kind of player who keeps getting better when nobody's watching. The answer was yes. The season log tells the story as cleanly as anything in the database. The 2 negative seasons in the middle are tank years. Everything on either side of them is positive and rising. The jump from 2.19 in the 22-23 season to 6.98 in the 23-24 to 10.19 in the 24-25 season represents 3 consecutive seasons of improvement at an elite rate. His 24-25 season produced the scoring title, the MVP award, and the NBA championship. The formula recorded 10.19, placing that season in the same tier as the peak years of players who sit atop this entire database. He was 26 years old. To put that peak in context, here's how it compares to the greatest guards in the database by single season high. His 10.19 is higher than Russell Westbrook's 9.27 in the 2012-2013 season, Oscar Robertson at 7.83 in his 70-71 season, Steve Nash at 6.77, and Isaiah Thomas at 6.3. SGA's peak is not just the highest of this group, it is higher than Westbrook's best by nearly a full net win, and higher than Robertson, Nash, and Thomas by a wide margin. The chart of all 5 careers shows the same thing visually. SGA's peak season sits above every comparable guard in the database. In 2023, SGA led Canada to a bronze medal at the FIFA Basketball World Cup, the first medal in the history of the Canadian men's program. Canada had never won a medal at the World Cup. They did it with SGA as the clear best player on the roster, playing with the same relentlessness he brings to OKC games in a tournament where most American-based stars find reasons not to participate. He also represented Canada at the 24 Paris Olympics in a run that ended against the United States. The willingness to show up for his country in international competition when he easily could have opted out is a detail about his character the formula cannot measure, but the basketball community noticed. SGA and Wemby are playing each other right now in the Western Conference Finals. The article on Wembanyama covered the rivalry from Wemby's side. From SGA's side, the context is different. Holmgren won a championship in OKC in 2025 alongside SGA. The two have coexisted on the same franchise through one of the most successful rebuilds in recent NBA history. The rivalry is not internal. It is the franchise versus Wembanyama in the Spurs, and SGA is the engine of that franchise. When Wemby said in December of 25 that OKC played isolation ball and forced basketball without variety, SGA's response was characteristically quiet. He didn't say anything publicly. He produced 8.93 that season on a 64-win team. The formula said more than he needed to. No profile of SGA is complete without acknowledging the most persistent knock in his game, the accusations of flopping and manufacturing foul contact to get to the free throw line. The criticism is not baseless. He leads the league in free throw attempts most seasons. He has an extraordinary ability to draw contact, some of it genuine and some of it, depending on your view, manufactured through off-ball movement and body positioning that exploits the rule book rather than the defender. He has been called for flopping violations. Opposing coaches have complained about it publicly. Opposing fans have complained about it constantly. The formula does not take a position on this. Free throws attempted are not in the formula at all. Missed free throws are counted as negative actions, and made free throws generate points that go into the positive column. But the act of drawing fouls is not credited or penalized. What the formula sees is the output: the points, the rebounds, the assists, the steals, the efficiency. What is worth saying plainly is that the line between elite contact creation and flopping is one that the NBA has never drawn clearly, and that different players get called across it inconsistently. Harden drew the same criticism for a decade. Dwayne Wade drew it. Every player whose offensive game is built around getting to the line eventually gets labeled. Whether SGA crosses that line to judgment, the formula cannot make. What I can say is that his efficiency numbers, the field goal percentages, the shooting splits, the turnover rates are all consistent with the player who's genuinely elite, rather than a player whose numbers are inflated by cheap trips to the line. 10.19 on a 68-win team is not a foul drawing artifact. It is basketball production at a level that very few players in the history of the sport have reached. The composite rank of 33rd will not hold. 8 seasons, 2 of them tank years, 1 playoff appearance in the database so far. As the career accumulates and he's 27 years old, with potentially a decade of basketball remaining, the formula will revise upward. The comparison that makes the most analytical sense is Tony Parker, who currently sits 8th in this database at a career combined of 96.9. Parker played 18 seasons, averaged 5.6 net wins per season over his prime years, and won 4 championships alongside Duncan. SGA at his current trajectory with the peak seasons has already produced is on a path that could exceed Parker's career numbers. The Durant and Westbrook franchise records he has broken in OKC are a useful benchmark. Durant's best season in OKC produced a composite number comparable to SGA's 24-25. Westbrook's best season produced less. SGA has already exceeded both of them at the OKC peaks on better teams with more efficient basketball. He's from Hamilton, Ontario. His mother ran for Canada in the Olympics. He married his high school sweetheart. He gave the city of Hamilton the key to itself back, symbolically, by becoming its most famous export and staying connected to where he came from. The formula sees a player in the middle of something. 8 seasons in, composite rank 33rd, peak of 10.19 at age 26. The numbers for the next 10 years will determine where he eventually lands in the all-time rankings. Based on the trajectory, the database should make room. The full net wins database is free at willf123.github.io/NBA-net-wins. Next episode, Shaquille O'Neal at number 8. He shot 43% from the free throw line and still produced one of the 10 greatest individual seasons in the history of the sport. Subscribe to netwins.substack.com to get it when it drops.